Okay, everyone. So, welcome to the stream. Today, what we're going to be doing, we're going to be building a brand new workstation for myself. So, I am currently running a Ryzen Threadripper. It is a second generation Threadripper, and instead of just upgrading it, I went for rebuilding the entire thing. So, that includes us using a new Ryzen Threadripper. It's actually going to be a 7960X Ryzen Threadripper, so it has 24 cores threaded to 48 cores, and I've just decided to upgrade the whole thing. So what I'm using this for, it's mainly going to be the same thing that I was using my other computer for, the one that I'm currently recording with. I use it to run my software company off of. I write programs with it. I deal with a little bit of AutoCAD, video editing, streaming, programming, the whole 9 yards. And I'm basically going to be doing everything on this machine except for gaming. So what parts are we going to be using? First off, we're going to be using the Threadripper. I've already mentioned that. We're going to also be using a NVIDIA 4080 Super, which is the one that I'm currently running the machine on, so we'll be swapping this out for a 3060 for this build until it gets done. When it gets done, and I'm able to pull it, everything over, we'll put the 4080 in it. We have brand new motherboard, which is from Gigabyte. It's a TRX50 Aero D. We're going to be running DDR5, and it's going to be 128 gigs of RAM in it. We also have a 5th gen M.2 drive, as well as a cooler that goes with it that I'm not for sure if it's even going to be able to work on the motherboard, so we'll have to see that. 1200 watt power supply. And then we also have the peripherals over there. So a keyboard, which, by the way, if you are interested in the Red Dragon keyboard, we currently have a review for this product up on the channel. So if you're interested in a really nice mechanical keyboard that's like 30 bucks, this is a pretty good one, and we have a full review of it. So, without further ado, let's go ahead and get started building my brand new workstation. Oh, and we're also using this really nice RGB white case that, well, frankly, it was 100 bucks, and it looked nice, and it looked like it would hold everything. So, let's go ahead and get started on this. Oh, and this is being live streamed, so in case you have any questions for me, or you would like to input some thoughts into it or anything like that, I am going to be having a camera here, live feed over there. I'm reading the comments as you post them. If you have any questions for me, please ask. More than happy to answer them. Let's go ahead, move some of this stuff out of the way, and we can get started with the processor and the motherboard. Now, with the motherboard, I have previously looked at this board, but I haven't really tested it out or anything else. I just wanted to make sure that it was actually there. And it was all in there. So let's go ahead and open this up. Get the motherboard ready to go. I will need to read a little bit in this because I don't know where the M.2 drive needs to go for a Gen 5. But that's why it comes with an instruction manual. That, and I will say that this board, I have never had a board that weighs this much. Like, this is legitimately like 5 pounds. This board is very heavy duty. I don't think there's anything under it. Doesn't look like it. Oh, wait, I was wrong. There is things inside the box that I was not looking for. Put that off to the side. I want to save that for later. But inside the box, over here, Looks like a display port. Yes, it is. Possibly a power button, maybe a speaker. We'll have to look into that. Hard drive hookups. Extensions for something. Maybe a case extender. Not really for sure on that one. And another case extender, possibly. Don't know. We'll have to see. See what's over on this side. That looks like a LED light of some kind. I have no idea what this is. Oh, wait, no, this is the Wi-Fi. Okay, so this is the Wi-Fi hub that gets plugged into it. That's neat. And then more hard drive connectors. Oh, and these are neat. These are the motherboard bracket plugins for the front I/O. That's really nice that those get included. I remember the days when those were not a thing, and you just had to kind of guess where everything went. So whenever you're building a computer, the first thing that you want to do is make sure that the motherboard and everything else is laid out, ready to go. It's actually easier to first get the motherboard and make sure that everything lines up with the processor and possibly the M.2 drive. Make sure that all that stuff lines up good before you put it inside of the case. But the case is definitely the next thing that you want to do. We'll move this back so we can have this be a little bit closer. There we go, much better. Let's go ahead, open this up. We'll put the case right there so we can use that as a brace. Don't want to rip that. Yeah, I also have never paid close to $1,000 for a motherboard, but hey, first time for everything, right? Because that's pretty much what this cost, and that was insane to me. I'm used to paying like $100 for a motherboard, not almost 1,000. Terrifying. Okay. Gosh, this thing is heavy. So there is our motherboard. Now the next thing that we want to do is hook up the processor, which the processor, as I've mentioned to you already, a Ryzen Threadripper. Now this processor is, if I'm not mistaken, close to $3,000 now, something like that. So I don't want to mess this one up. Let me make sure that I'm putting this in correctly, because it's been many years since I built my previous one. Okay, here's that. Okay, step one. Wow, it literally just says step one, install CPU and CPU cooler. And then, like, that's all the written text there is. Just that. And then it shows you a picture. Interesting. Okay, so it looks like these come up. It says those come up. Open 3, 2, 1. 3, 2, 1. So we need to remove these, which I hope they gave me some kind of a wrench to do so. they did not, I'm going to have to go pick up a wrench. They did not include a wrench with this processor, or this motherboard. So, let's see if the processor has it. If it does, great. If not, I'll have to make a detour. Go into my other room and try and find a wrench. Okay. There's the beautiful Threadripper. Gosh, look at the size of that processor. That is absolutely massive. For comparison, like, that is a huge processor. Holy smokes. Oh, here we go. Screwdriver built in here. I hope, anyway. Yep, that's the right one. And look at that. That is a chunk. Okay. Processor comes in a massive case right here. Look at those dies. So many. Okay, installation guide, nice little sticker. That's going to be fun for later. Let me make sure this says exactly the same thing the other one did. It says, remove the screws, pop that out, slide the other one in, close it down, latch it in place, attach the screws. Interesting. Installation instructions for AMD socket PS5. Will that work with the... Oh, wait, no, that's a totally different board. Okay, so the one we need to look at is the top one, obviously, because that's a Threadripper. So that basically said exactly the same thing the other one did. Yeah, and that's it. Okay. So, we loosen these up. 3. Ooh, don't want to drop that. 2. 1. Okay, so that's spring-loaded. I did not open that on, I did not open that. It opened on its own. That was completely spring-loaded. So now it says I take this out. I am terrified to do that. Okay, up. Okay, so that lifted, also spring-loaded. I take this out. And I need to be very careful not to get anything in there because, well, yeah, those pins. And here's my Threadripper. Carefully open this up. This processor is absolutely massive. I'll never get over how big these processors are. Okay, so this slides in here. Lines up with the rail. Slots right in. That goes down. And then this goes down. And then to close, we go 1. Although it's not closing. Okay, there it goes. 1, 2, and 3. And let's go back over it a little bit more. Make sure that's secure. And I would assume that we are good now. I'm not putting a whole lot of pressure. I'm just turning it till it's not moving anymore. Like that right there. Just hang on one second. Let me get another processor so I can show you the difference. So just for comparison, this is a standard size processor. Like, that's a standard size processor right here. If you were to buy a processor and it's just like normal grade, like a I don't know, Ryzen 90, what, 9750X3D, I think is what they are. If you were to buy one, they would be this size. That's how big the Threadripper is. Like, I can't get over how massive these processors are. But basically, they're like 5 processors in one. So, I mean, there you go. Okay, next, we have all those tightened up. So, this book, no longer need. We're good with that. Put that back in there. We're going to save this box just in case, God forbid, that the processor doesn't work. And if it doesn't, I will be extremely heartbroken because these things are not cheap at all, and also very much so out of stock pretty much everywhere that you look. Okay, next. We got that. CPU fan goes straight down there. Now, with this, I need to find where the mounting bracket is, because I need to have a mounting bracket on here. That one said it should work. Let me see. Now, this one, I believe, was the cooler that literally came with no instructions, if I'm not mistaken. I don't think it came with anything in the box. Yeah, it didn't. No mounting brackets or anything. No hardware, nothing. But it did say that it worked with this processor and this board, so we'll have to see. Let me see here. That goes on that one. Well, that goes on there. But this bracket did not come with that. Now, I doubt that that bracket even works with this. So why? I might have to do a little bit more research on that and see why that cooler is not fitting on there. Because that cooler did say compatible with STR5, which it is. That is an STR5. Heatsink aluminum, yep, directly on that, yes. And there is nothing else in that box. I don't think this came with that, but we'll see. Oh, yes it did. Here's the brackets. Okay, this is for LGA, AMD. AMD. All right. All right, sorry. Good luck with the build. Thank you. Thank you so much. Sorry it took me a little bit to read that. Bingo. Here we go. All right, so those should line up here, which they do. And these should line up there. Let me make sure it goes in. It goes in this way. Yes. Okay, perfect. Now I do need a Phillips screwdriver. I will be right back. All right. Yep. I am the peak of professionalism. Yes, I am absolutely the peak of professionalism. Know exactly what I'm doing all the time. So let's go ahead and get these tightened down here. Perfect. Yeah, chances are I probably put these on the other way around, but doesn't matter. It'll be fine. Got those in there. I do love how this board comes with the I/O shield already installed on it. Like, that's really nice. Okay, got those on there. Now that we have those on there, let's see if this lines up before I take everything else off. And does not. Okay. That means I put those on backwards, like I thought that I did. It's always good to test this stuff out first. All right, let's swap this around. So, for those of you who are just tuning in, we had to find the mounting brackets for the Threadripper, which I still cannot get over how massive a Threadripper actually is. For those of you who don't know, and I just had this up here, let me see if I can find it again. The Threadripper processor is so much bigger than a standard processor. I don't know where I put the darn thing. I had a standard processor just laying here for comparison. Let's see if I can find it. Nope, I don't know what I did with it. Anyway, if I find it, I'll lay it beside it so you can see it later. It is absolutely massive compared. Now, I don't know. This is supposed to go on that way. I think it is. It doesn't. That does not feel right. Really does not feel right to put that on there like that. But maybe it is right. Will that go on up? I guess it is right. Okay. So that is right. Let's swap this around over here then. Although I'm saying that does not feel right at all. What it is. All right, let's see. Perfect. Okay. That goes like that, which it does not seem right to me. But there is no other way for it to go, so it has to go that way. Okay, I mean, I don't like the way that looks. So I put a lot of pressure on it. Loosen it up a little bit. But we'll see if that works. Does that line up now? It does indeed line up. That side's better. This one's still down. Okay, I'm going to go with that. So I don't know which way this actually goes. I don't think it matters. The holes don't look like that they would matter. And how big are these screws? That's going to be the determining factor on that. Now, I'm just testing this out first. I know I haven't put the thermal paste on it and stuff like that, but I just need to know if this is actually going to work, before I jump full hog into this, I need to make certain that this will indeed work. And I don't lose the very precious screws. Yeah, so that's not working. That means I have to install these first, and then I put those on there. It's always good to test this stuff out first. Okay, so these get installed first, and then I put those on there. If anyone has built a Threadripper before, I'm sure they are face palming me at the moment. Just fine. Perfectly fine. Okay. This goes on like that, or like that. No, definitely not like that. So it goes on like that. And then we put these screws on. And I'm assuming they go in this way. Yes. Now, I had that other one. Don't know. There it is. I was going to say, I don't know exactly where it went. And then this one goes on there too. Like, I would think that it would go on like that, but it doesn't even fit, so it has to go this way. It is so bizarre. That does not look like that's how it's supposed to be. Here we have mounting brackets good to go. Of course, I dropped my screwdriver. That's, you know, professionalism right there. Oh, there's the processor. So for those of you just now joining in, that's the size of a normal processor. Right there. That's the size of the Threadripper. That is absolutely absurd. Now, before we get this installed in here, there's actually something that I wanted to remove, which is right there. Now, will that actually affect anything? Probably not. But I don't want to chance that smoking. I mean, I don't think it would, but you never know. That's just a piece of cardboard. Much better. Now, I also don't know exactly if I was supposed to mount it this way or that way. But I also don't think it matters. So we'll just figure that one out. First off, before we get the cooler on there, we do have to remove this. And then we use our thermal paste. So this is the last chance we're going to see the processor before we put this on. We're going to be using this thermal goop here, which was a very good reviewed brand. I don't know if it's any good. I really haven't found any difference between the different brands. And as far as how we're going to put this on, I have no idea. So with Threadrippers, they are, well, extremely hot processors. So I do not mind using up basically the whole thing on that. Might have done that completely wrong. I don't know. I have never used an entire tube of this before, but oh my goodness, this processor's massive. Come on. Ah, there we go. Thermal goop in my mouth. Yuck. Okay. So we have those two shorter screws there. That means it goes this way. And now that one grabbed. Yep. Okay, now this one over here. Sorry if I'm blocking the camera. I have to see what I'm doing here. Really don't want to ruin a multi-thousand-dollar processor. Okay. Got that one in. Apparently I didn't get that one in good enough. To back that one off. Back it off. Too much. Okay. Now back that one in. Not enough. Didn't sound good. Okay, where did that other screwdriver go? The small one. Okay, just got someone else comment. Let's see what they say. Bazinga. Yes, bazinga indeed. Reminds me of somebody. Okay. All right. Okay, got that one in. This one over here. This is probably the hardest build I've ever done. I have built so many computers. This just isn't even right. Try this one. This computer is awful. Holy smokes. I'm almost tempted just to take the springs off the screws. Holy smokes, this is awful. You know what? You want to bend these. And give it a little bit more room. Spin this around. Maybe I can look at it from another angle. Boy, I bet this is what you all streamed in for. Tuned in to see this guy struggle putting in a processor. Holy smokes. I have never in my life seen a processor this difficult to get in. I don't know, maybe you all tuned in just for that. Maybe you knew how bad this was and you're like, wow, I want to see this guy struggle. Oh, I got that one. Okay. And of course that one popped up whenever I did that one. Great. Okay. Got that. Got that. That was not even close. Like, I am not kidding. I started the stream and I'm like, oh yeah, it'll be an hour. Yeah, it'll be an hour getting this processor on. Well, that's on. That's not going anywhere. Or at least it was until I unsquiffed it. On there. On there. Okay. These. On there. On there. Like, that ain't going anywhere. And I don't want to put any more pressure on that processor. Like, that's... Like, I'm not kidding. I am actually breaking a sweat over this. It's crazy. Okay. Now that we have that done, what I want to do next, I need to figure out, get rid of this stuff I don't need right now. I need to figure out which one of the M.2 drives is going to have the 5th gen, because our drive that we have here is a 5th gen SSD, so it could go up to 12 gigs a second, something like that. Yeah, 12.4 gigs a second. But it has to go in the right M.2 space. Otherwise, it ain't going to matter. So, in the instruction manual, let's see which space that is. Is this even an instruction manual? Because it's not opening. Oh, there it goes. And wow, this has nothing. This is literally the instruction manual. It has nothing on it. The little pamphlet had more on it than that. Okay. I know how to install a graphics card. I know how to install RAM. Thank you. And it wants me to put in a disk drive. Okay. Oh yes, I know those drives do run hot. In fact, what we're going to be using for that is this right here, if we can get it in the correct spot. So I actually bought one of these specifically for that, if we can actually get it to run. Yeah, those are, from what I can tell, those are pretty neat. But I'm not able to figure out which one of the slots is 5th gen. I would assume that it's this one. That would be my assumption. However, that being said, I also have a graphics card that is going in here that might exceed the space allotted for this. So, we might have to have that somewhere else. Let me see if the box actually has anything. Well, the box is here. Better yet, I have a lovely device that I can look stuff up on. So let's see. It is a TRX50 Aereo D manual. There we go. Now, this manual, it says, let me see here. Let me see what this is there. I'm going to move this over here. I'm actually going to bring up, there. Let's see what you said. Usually the Blazing M.2 is Gen 5. Well, sometimes. It's usually with these boards, it's you got one Gen 5 and then you have the rest of them are Gen 4. So let me see which ones these are. Those are mounting brackets, yes. Okay. Okay, M.2 CPU2, 1. And then we also have, okay, so there's the chipset. We have 4 M.2 drives. That's interesting. But which one is Gen 5? chipset, memory, CPU, yes, wireless expansion, storage. One M.2 drive, Gen 5, two M.2 drives, one Gen 4. Connector socket 3 and one, two, mm-hmm. Okay, so it says that it has two Gen 5s, one Gen 4. M.2A, M.2B, M.2C. So this one is actually M.2A, which I'm okay with. That means that we can probably use the heatsink to fit in there. Let me see if we can. So this heatsink, yeah, I think that'll be okay. M.2A, M.2B, M.2C. Let me double check and make sure that M.2A is the correct one. Why, yes it is. Okay. USB, yep, yep. So it looks like that the M.2D is the slowest one. So all of these actually work at the same speed. And then M.2D, which is M.2D, should be over here. Oh, should be right there. That's the slow one. This one, that one, and that one are the fast ones. So we should be good on that. Okay, let's get this off. So, oh, that is cool. That's just a little arm that clicks that in place. Oh, that is awesome. And that right there is one chunky heatsink. Man, I almost hate getting rid of this because that thing looks awesome. But we did buy this specifically for that. Which this is far more robust. This is a heatsink specifically for the M.2 drive. Pretty nice. That anymore. That is gonzo as well. Sadly, I did use up all of the thermal paste on the processor, which is fine. But here is our Gen 5 M.2 drive. 2 terabyte Gen 5 M.2 drive. And believe it or not, and we have a video coming out for this. I don't have it out yet. But thermal pads for conductors actually work, or for heat transfers, work better than thermal paste. I had no idea, but yeah, thermal pads, those are like the best heat sink like transfers that you can get. Never would have guessed that before, like ever. But I did testing on it, and turns out that that is true. Do need that box. Would be better if I didn't just throw things everywhere. There it is. Okay. Let's go ahead and remove these. Now, I have already read the instructions on this because I got this in and I was like, this thing's like so cool and so neat. So I read the instructions on it already. Basically, you just line up your your M.2 drive on this and it will screw into place. Basically, put in your heat sink or whatever you want for your heat transfer, your thermal paste, and just lines right up. So yeah, there's that. Pretty straightforward. Looks like a standard cooler. You slap that right on there like that. That's pretty much it. So with the thermal pad, here, gonna run this one on the bottom of it. Gonna run the other one on the top of it. And then it all just lines in place. Just kind of get suction cupped in there. Then that goes down like that. You can put the screws back in. These screws are so tiny. There we go. And last one. Okay. So we have our M.2 drive ready to go with the heatsink on it. Done yet. That is... I've never had a Gen 5 M.2 drive, or at least one running at full specs, but apparently you need stuff like this to consistently generate the 12.4 gigs a second transfer. So that just lines up in here, lines up right there, slides in, slots down, and we have a little arm that snaps that in place. I mean, it sure seems like it's snapped in place. Yeah, okay, that's in there. Now, I just realized something. I don't exactly know how I'm going to get to the RAM. We might have to install that before we put the fans on. So, with the RAM, and this is something that I typically don't install until after I get this inside of the computer. This RAM, again, I have never paid so much money for RAM in all my life. This right here, 2 sticks of RAM, 2 sticks, $800 almost for RAM, because this is RDIMM certified RAM, 128 gigs. So two 64 gig sticks. Oh my gosh, I have never paid that much for RAM in my life. But apparently this processor has to have that kind of RAM. RDIMM certified RAM, which my other Threadripper did not have to have. Oh, and by the way, if you all are still here, because I see I got like 10 people watching, thank you, by the way. But go ahead and hit that like button, because I have actually never had a video or a live stream actually get 10 likes. Believe it or not, I've never had that happen. So yeah, this right here, this one stick of RAM, nearly $400. I have built entire computers for that. Absolutely insane. Goodness gracious, they sure make it difficult enough to get into. Gosh. There we go. Okay. I got one stick. Now, I need to figure out which channel this goes into and what the channels are. Where is that at? C1, A1, B1. Handy phone. I would assume that it goes in A and C. Let me see if the manual says it, but I doubt it does. Installing memory. Wow. Thank you. It literally just says install memory. This is the most worthless piece of paper ever printed. So I would assume that it goes in A and C. I really don't want to have to take this apart again to find out that I was wrong. So let's see. Okay, we have channel A is A, channel B. Okay, so refer to table for memory installation according to the number of memory modules you want to install. If you want to install 2 modules get installed in A and C. So I was correct. A and C. So let's do C first. C is this one. Oh, that hurt. Does that move? Yes, it does. Okay. Oh, gosh, it's a tight fit. Okay. So that is... Yep, that lines up. There, got that snapped in. A and C. Oh, please don't break. Ah. A and C. Yeah, typically on these builds, I'm like, if it breaks, whatever. RAM's like $10. This ain't $10. Most ridiculously, stupidly overpriced thing I've ever seen. You know, I will have to come up with a price on how much all this cost. But I can guarantee you it was over like... I can guarantee you it's over 4,000. Probably more like 6 to 7. And this was not bought recently. Like, most of these parts were bought before the tariffs and before, like, New Year's. Like, a lot of this stuff was purchased, well, whenever I could actually buy a 4080. Okay, we got this installed. Now we need... Let's determine where the screw holes are. Those are there. Let's get the fans in there, and then we can get this inside of the tower. Finally. So airflow going through. We want airflow going that way. So that means that it is pushing out there. We want that to go there. This is amazing how it comes with 0 instructions. Is that not supposed to go there? Because I really thought that was supposed to go there. Okay, let's try this one. Actually, the back of the case is going to be this way. Yeah, so it needs to go like this. I was thinking this was the front of the case, but it's not. There we go. Okay, that snaps in place. And then, oh, for those of you who do not know, when you're installing fans, typically they have an arrow for where the airflow goes. If you do not find an arrow, they're usually like located around here on the rim. The airflow is going to come in through the spinny side. So the part that has the sticker that spins, that is where air is coming in. Air is going to be exiting the side that whenever it spins, the label stays the same. So that is the flow of air, how it goes, if it does not have a label to indicate it. On this side, it's much easier to snap in place. Perfect. Sadly, we need to hang on to this RAM just in case there's a dud, because Lord knows that can happen, although I don't want it to happen. And our fan connectors. We also need our graphics card, which we will get to in a bit. And then, yeah, we're ready to put this in the case. Let's go ahead and clear off the table from stuff that we do not need anymore. We'll revisit this stuff in a moment. That goes with the processor. Man, that kills me that I had to remove that. Like, that's solid metal. That's solid aluminum. Like, that would do pretty good as a cooler. That's awesome. Okay, move all that. That we might need. Stuff, we'll probably need that. Do not need this. And let's get this board transferred over here. Gosh, this thing weighs a ton. Oh, no joke. That thing right now probably weighs close to 10 pounds. No exaggeration. The board itself is like 5 pounds, and then you got the processor, it probably weighs a pound. That's crazy that that board is that much. Okay. Now, let's get this down on the side here. Pick it up from there. Like, honestly, I think that board weighs just as much as this case. That's crazy. Oh, that is awesome. I thought I was unscrewing the glass up here. There's actually a... Let's see if I can see this. There's actually a plate right here for the power supply. That is awesome. Now, how do I remove this? I'm so used to thumb screws. You just take off the thumb screws and there you go. I've never actually had a case like this. Do you remove the top? Looks like you remove the top. look at the manual for the case? How does this work? If you all have any ideas for me, please let me know, because... Oh! Okay. That raises up, apparently. And... then what? Some buttons under here? Is it a screw? Like... does that just come out? I mean, there's got to be an easier way to do this, right? How would you get inside your case? Weird. All right. Manual? That's for the motherboard. Oh, there it is. Staring right at it. Manual's inside of it. Okay. It's silly you put the manual on the inside of something when you're trying to figure out how to get inside of it. Okay, manual, assembly. I'm more interested in disassembly. Chassis diagram, wire interface. Chassis disassembly. Open the buckle from the top front panel. Buckle open. Buckle open. Is there a buckle? Oh, gosh, that was scary. Okay, so that's a buckle. It's worrisome because it's glass. And then we take this side off. Oh, gosh, it's... I guess so. I'm going to lay this down now. And we can raise this up. Okay. That's terrifying because that's solid glass. See, typically in cases that I've dealt with, these glasses, like this glass is on a swivel or a door that like opens up this way, not completely removed. I guess I've never had a fancy computer like this. Now we will eventually have to get to the back plate, but before we get to the back plate, I want to get the motherboard in there so we can start to line all this stuff up. IO's there. Here's our screws, which is a good place for them. I appreciate that, so they don't get jostled around. It does look like that we have an RGB controller in the back. That is awesome. It means I don't have to buy one. Anyway, if you all are here, go ahead and give me a like, because if I've been entertaining you this long, I think I might have earned a like or two. I've never actually had a video with a live stream that actually got a lot of likes. Like, typically I get like 1 or 2. If I could get everyone to like, that would jump me up to 15 likes. That would be amazing. Now, to this lined up here. It's sad that the majority of a build, like the hardest part of a build, you have to do and kind of guess if you're doing it right, because the only time you can actually test to see if everything works is when everything is assembled. It's like I've built these enough to know that I'm doing it right. But that only goes so far as to if the parts are actually, you know, working and are legitimate. Okay. Perfect. Let's get these in there. Might need to get a longer screwdriver. That's okay. Lined up here. Perfect. Boy, I hope all this just goes in together in one fell swoop. That'd be nice. That way I won't have to take all this apart, because that processor was the absolute worst thing that I've ever had to put into a computer. And it still blows my mind that that is the size of a standard processor, and this processor is literally that big. Like, that's insane. Never get over how they make those processors. But basically, they're like 5 processors in one. So, let's see. I think, let me zoom in here so I can read this. Yes, it's 24 cores, but it's threaded to 48 cores. I was going to go with the 36 core count. That's threaded to 64. But at the end of the day, I couldn't justify spending an extra $1,000 whenever... I mean, my computer basically did everything I needed to do anyway. And it... Well, this is a upgraded version of the computer that I currently have. Like, the one that I have, it's DDR4. It is 2nd gen, which I believe that this is a... I want to say... Actually, no. My computer... I think they have their naming system a little bit wrong with the Threadrippers. Mine might actually be a 1st gen Threadripper. Anyway, this is the latest Threadripper, so it's like 5 generations newer, something like that. It should perform like, honestly, probably close to 3 times, maybe 4 times faster than what I'm currently running, just the processor alone. And I'm also upgrading the RAM, so the RAM's going from DDR4 to DDR5. Like, this is going to be a massive jump for me, so I couldn't justify spending an extra grand on, well, from 48 cores to 64. It didn't make a whole lot of sense. But yeah, 24 cores, threaded to 48. And I believe that might be all of... Oh, got one screw, two. 2 screws and I'm missing. Yeah, the main thing I'm going to be using this computer for is programming, AutoCAD, virtualization, and streaming, editing videos. I'm also diving a little bit into programming and training in AI, so it's going to help me with that as well. My current Threadripper, my 2nd gen or 1st gen or whatever it is, it could actually run an AI model on its own without a graphics card. Like, that's how powerful that GPU is, or CPU. And this CPU is leagues beyond it. So I'm hoping that I'll be able to, well, do a little bit more with it. Okay, next, graphics card. Well, I probably shouldn't do the graphics card next. Next, we'll go ahead and get the power supply in there, which this is the one that we're currently going with. This is, from what I understand, basically to run this processor the way I need to run it. The processor itself takes like 500 watts. The graphics card, which is a 4080 Super, takes 500. So we have a little bit of overhang with 1200 watts. We will probably need to prop this up so we can get around to the other side. Yes, I hope that it will be a beast. Because my current one, like I said, love it. It's great. Does everything that I want it to do. It's just a little bit slow, and it's 7 years old. So, a little bit slow. I'm saying a little bit slow. It's a little bit slow compared to what I want to do with it. As in, it's amazing for a standard work computer. I'm not doing standard work. I'm running an entire software company off this one machine. So I would benefit and save a lot of time if I had something just a little bit newer, a little bit beefier. I like to joke and say that this computer is going to be great for spreadsheets, because, I mean, basically that's what I'm using it for, is spreadsheets. But it's going to be more than that. Okay, here is our fully modular power supply unit. Let me move this massive case out of the way so we can actually see what we're dealing with here. Fully modular power supply. Oh boy, $50 Steam e-gift. Yay! Probably never going to use that. Power supply, yada yada yada. Yay. Knows where to go with that. Oh, I love it whenever they include, like, these Velcro ties. Not all power supplies do that. Heck, most cases don't do that. But I really appreciate it because it's super nice. Yeah, don't do that. And let's see here. I'm assuming all these are our modular cords. Yes, they are. These are, if I'm not mistaken, braided. Yes, they are. Oh, those are nice. Nicely braided cords. And then power supply. This computer is not going to be a lightweight. Fully modular, 1200 watt, 80 plus gold power supply. Beautiful. Oh, that's cool. Hybrid mode. I have no idea what that does. I'm assuming I want to leave it off. That is a very nice looking power supply. Like, that's really nice. Alright, let's get that in there. So with this, and this is really cool, let me spin it around so you can see this side of it, and I'll change the camera around. This has a little plate that you can mount onto your power supply. How cool is that? Mount it on your power supply and then it just like slots right in there. Perfect. I've never seen one like this. That is super cool. Now it'd be even better if I bought a white power supply to match the white case. Well, whatever. No one's going to see it but me. And I guess everyone that's watching, but you know. Let's see here. I guess it doesn't matter how we plug that in. We do want it facing the bottom for obvious reasons. Intake on the bottom because, well, not only is it covered here, it's got nice feet on there, so it's propped up. It can have nice airflow going from the bottom upwards into wherever we need it to go. Did it come with screws? I want to say it did. I also think I tossed those off to the side. It did, right there. And I have no idea. Oh, wait. That is really cool. Let me change cameras here so you can see it. Little badge, little emblem, and it's made out of metal. Like, look how thick that is. That is awesome. I personally like little details like that. Like I love these things. I love when companies do that. Super cool. Oh, it sounds like a coin. Listen to this. That's awesome. Okay. That just makes me happy. Put some screws in here. Okay, got that. Next, we are here. I just realized I put the screw in the wrong place. Oh well. In my defense, I had thought this would have been over an hour ago. Okay. Got that installed there. Let's slot this in. And of course, fan facing towards the bottom, so it's going to be taking air in this way, pushing it up through the case. Nice cold air from the bottom. That slides in, and then you have thumb screws that hold it in place. That is an awesome design. That is really cool. Okay, now how exactly do we get this out? Because I am fairly certain that that does slide out. I would assume we have to take the screws out from the reverse side. So does this have bracket screws we have to undo, or does it just plops out? Perfect. Now, usually they have screws around this side that hold the power supply in place. It does not actually look like that is the case. It looks more like you have an open area in the back, and then you just kind of adjust it however you need it, which is fine. Let's get this down here like that. And we did have one of these that got unplugged. We'll plug that back in. LED lights. And I would assume... Yep. Did we also lose one from the bottom? Kind of looks like we did. We did. It's right here. I would assume that this one goes over there, but for some reason it did not get plugged in. That... Okay. I realized I am on the wrong camera. Let's put it like that. There we go. So this area here was a little bit wonky, but we got that fixed. It's okay. These are supposed to be LED fans, which I'm okay with leaving them in. Should be fine. No problem. Now, as far as the rest of the cords, I really do not like about this case how the front I/O is actually on the foot. It's like right here on the base of the foot, but on the front side. Don't really like that. Not too crazy about that. But other than that, everything else seems pretty legit. Let's see. All those seem okay. Now, something I did need to figure out about this power supply, or the motherboard, actually. I need to figure this out about the motherboard. The motherboard has two different inputs for power. We have two different 8-pin inputs and a 24-pin. I do not know if we need both of them or if one is a pass-through. If one is a pass-through, then you don't want to actually use it. Okay, let me see. 1, a 12 volt or 12 volt. 1, okay. First connectors, 20 connectors. The power supply can supply enough stable power to all components on the motherboard. Before connecting the power, first make sure power supplies. Yep. Yes, we know that. Okay. That's it. So I'm assuming that I need to use both of those power plugs in that. A 2x4 and a 2x12 main connector. Another power supply can supply enough power to... Okay, yep, apparently it takes not only a 24-pin connector, but also two 8-pin connectors. Who would have known? That is one chunky boy. Alright, let's see. What all do we need? We will need, at minimum, we need one for here, SATA, whatever. Need one of those. We also need it for the hard drives. So the hard drives will get mounted somewhere. I don't know. We'll figure that out. So we need at least one of these, possibly two. Probably more than that, to be honest. Don't need that. We'll tie those up later. I am not big on cable management, so if you are wanting to see something very well organized, you might want to look away, because once this gets tucked away in the back, ain't no one gonna see it. That gets plugged in there to the LED, yes. Now, that 6-pin gets plugged in to SATA right there. Gotcha. Next, we need two 8-pins. Nope. 8-pin, nope. Okay, don't need those. Next, you in here. There we go. These are the ones we need. Okay. That's interesting. Do I actually need that? Because CPU, yeah, okay, and another one CPU. CP, no, nope, nope. That one it. PCIe. Okay, that goes for the power to the graphics card. That. E. CIE. And CPU. There we go. We got 2 CPU cores specifically for that. Perfect. Okay, power supply. If you all are here, go ahead and drop a like. It would really, or I would really appreciate it anyway. I don't really know if it helps, but I personally like to see those numbers go up. Okay. Power supply. And CPU again. Perfect. Okay, so we have 2 of those. And now we need the 24-pin connector, which we have here, and an 8-pin. No, not an 8-pin, a 12-pin. 10-pin? Yeah, it's a 10-pin. Never mind. I can count just fine, apparently. Okay, and the 24-pin, let's make sure that goes, yes it does. So these go in here to that. So that one needs to go first. And that one. Yep. Okay, that should be everything that we would need for this. Got these. I'm going to take one more of these because I'm going to need it for the graphics card. Or at least the 4080 Super that we're going to be putting in. Now, does it say which one actually goes to the processor? Not the processor, graphics card. No, it does not. So I would assume that it's this one. It has a label on it. There we go. That's seated in fine. I would like one more. Get these right angled ones. Yes, right angled ones. That should provide me more power because there's fewer things on that. And then I also am going to need a 6-pin for the 3060. Actually, it might be an 8-pin. Yeah, I'm going to need an 8-pin. Power supply, PCIe, yep. Because to test it out, we are going to be using a 3060. And I think that's everything plugged in. Sweet. I have no idea what that cord even is. I've never even seen that cord before. I'm sure it's something. HD audio, USB 3, okay. Now we need to figure out where all this is and where it goes. So let's change over this scene here. Let's go ahead and get this out of the way first so we know where these are going. So I know that's going there. I might remove that in the future. That is the USB 3 because I might have a I might have a better one that is accessible through the back of the computer. We'll have to see. Which, does this have any? It does not. Oh, it does. It has a display out. So we don't even need a graphics card right now. We can throw that in later. We already have a display. That's fine. Next, we need... Where is that little there? Is that it? No, that's not it. Yes. I knew I would not throw that away because it's very important. However, I do know I would very likely misplace it because it was very important. Oh, that's the same thing I found last time. Well, I'm going to have to find that eventually. I guess I'm going to have to. I'm looking for the little black adapter that has all of the little connectors for the motherboard in it. And I know I had it because I was bragging about it. And I was like very happy that I had that. Oh well, I'll find it in a bit. Next, HD audio, which goes... Where are you, HD audio? Is that you over there? Front panel HD audio, right there. So that goes over there. So the easiest way would be to snake it through this. Missing piece would be there. Okay, got my front panel audio done. This is USB. which we have plenty of those, so it doesn't really matter where we put that at. Because I don't think so. Yeah, right there. Yep, got two of them right there. So let's snake this one up here. And that goes... Oh, no, it doesn't go there. Where's the USB? Thought that was USB. Let's see. Oh, that is USB. What did it... Oh! That's weird. Is that not the audio? No, that is. That's the audio. So I am looking for the front panel. Oh, I don't see it. Okay. No idea where that is then. Nope. No idea what that even is. Front panel something. Okay, next. That probably goes in that black box that I misplaced. That goes there. That's interesting. Okay. Now that gets plugged in. Like that. Sure. Never seen that cord before in my life. No idea what that is. Okay, got that one plugged in, got those. Think we got all the front IOs. We just need to have that little black piece that I misplaced. Don't know where I put that. We'll need that. Might need that. I don't know. Oh, no, no, no. Here it is. Okay, so the piece that I was looking for, go ahead and change this over so you can see it. This little piece right here. Basically, it will tell you exactly where everything gets plugged in at, and then you just bloop, right in the socket. Really nice, really convenient. They didn't always come with these. Yep, there you have it. Little instructions. Awesome. However, I'm wondering if this is just... I wonder if that is just the front panel and you don't have to do any of that. That'd be interesting. But again, it would be nice if this case actually came some instructions that were useful. Or maybe it did and I just didn't notice it. Wire interface. Yes. Insert front panel, which is the LED, the power, the reset. Yeah, that's what this is. But where does that even go on this board? I would assume it went there. Sure does. That's quite literally the only place it can go. It's got 5 across, 1 empty. Go right there. I seriously have my doubts that that's going to work. But we'll figure it out, won't we? Okay. That, sadly, cannot be snaked around any other way but through here. Oh, I need to figure out where the CPU fans are. Okay, CPU fans are... I assume right there. CPU fan. System fan and pump. CPU fan. There. And that one gets doubled up. So we have the CPU fans. Now we need the power. Not a whole lot of options with cable management on this one. System fans. All controlled through that. case. Let's see where these fans go. That needs to get plugged into our RGBs, which is somewhere up there. And this gets plugged in over here. RGB fan. That under there, that's tucked away. That's tucked away. We'll get the hard drives in later. And now, two power supplies up top. Here. And there. Last one. Now, that should have everything together enough to turn it on. Should. Let's see. Let me go get a power cord. Okay. Now, we should only need to have a keyboard hooked up to test this out. What did I do with that adapter? Oh, there it is. VGA to video. Okay. Let's get a keyboard. For this one, we're using the mechanical keyboard that, or typewriter keyboard that we've reviewed on the channel before. Get ourselves a cord to hook it up with. And finally, the cord for the power supply. My only hope is that all the parts work and the processor's not dead, or the RAM's not bad, or the motherboard's not bad, because each one of those is like multiple thousands of dollars. So yeah, I don't want any of those things to be wrong. Okay. Power's going on. We should see the monitor turn on. Monitor's on. I'm going to go ahead and hit the power switch on the power supply. Nothing yet, which is fine. And let's hit the power button. That is a good sign. It's not a good sign that we don't have a display. But we do not have any beeps. So that's telling me that there's probably just something wrong with my adapter, or that the display it's just not registering. So let's try something different. This might mess up the stream. We'll have to see, because I'm going to be plugging into one of my monitors that I currently have. That is not a... What? Okay, alright. It might actually need a display. So let's turn this off. I'm going to go get my 3060. We'll plug it up and see if that works. Okay, sorry for the delay. 3060, we're going to go ahead, plop that in there. See if it works, because it might not have a display port when it's active. It might actually need a graphics card. Is this a 2? Yeah, it's a 2. Ah, it doesn't even fit that one. I have to take out 3. Okay, next, the power for it. Glad I went ahead and installed this just in case. Okay, now, see if this works in a display port. Power off? No, because that's on. Okay, now let's try it. Guess that wasn't on. I'm still wondering what this cord is. Why did they give me a super short? Why did they give me a super short display port cord? I don't understand. It literally says that there's one side that goes to the motherboard and the other side that goes to the graphics card on it. So I don't understand. I've never seen anything like that. I mean, it almost acts like I don't have something plugged in right. Let me double check. We got the power there. Got the drive. Got both powers going up top. That board says OD. What does that mean? Let's go troubleshooting codes. Okay, that is 91, 96, AO. It's just cycling through a bunch of them. AO. Circle. IDE initialization is starting at A0. A3 activated all currently connected IDE devices. 26 C8. What is going on? Hey, there it is. Okay, so I guess it was just initializing memory. There we have it. Yeah, so it was just testing the memory, I guess. Sweet. New CPU installed. Press Y to reset. Okay, we'll reset it. Press N to keep previous record, continue system boot. Okay, we'll just redo it. That's probably from where I turned it off. Halfway through. I should know better than that. You should never turn off a computer whenever it's trying to update. I should know better than that. But apparently I don't. It would be better if I had a mouse, but I'm just going to go through it with the keyboard and click OK. Perfect. Okay, we have, wow, clock speed of 4.2 gigahertz. I don't know if you all can see that. Let me see if I can spin that around so you can. Zoom in on this. We have a mouse. What do I do with it? Oh, there it is. Okay, let me see if I can zoom in on this for you. Whoopsie, wrong one. That one. There we go. There. We have 4.2 gigahertz transfer speed, current watts at 0.9. We have a CPU temp of 36 degrees Celsius with a boot sequence of Windows and the CPU installed, which is not there, but we do have 128 gigs of RAM, 24 cores with the Threadripper, and it looks like we are running, yeah, 2 sticks of DDR5, 64 gigs. And system fans currently running. We're good. Yeah, we're golden. Okay, so thank you all for sticking with me. This has actually been a lot longer than I expected. In fact, it lasted an hour longer than I expected. I'm going to go ahead and call it a night because right now it is past midnight and I wanted to be done an hour ago. But thanks to that processor being an absolute behemoth, it took me longer than expected. Thank you all so much for sticking with me. Please look forward to another stream shortly where I'm going to be installing the rest of the stuff on there. But first, I have to take out my 4080 Super that I currently have running and streaming with, and then transfer all my stuff, uninstall drivers like that. That takes a while. But then we're going to plop it in there. Thank you all for watching. I hope you enjoyed it. Subscribe to see more like this, and I'll catch you all next time.